Welcome to Reparenting Daily, your free daily guide for inner child healing and repairing the relationship with yourself. This podcast helps you establish a consistent reparenting routine and is divided into 3 sections. The first is the daily reading, the second is a discussion of the reading, followed by suggested journal prompts, and the last section is peaceful binaural beats meditation for closing. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from whenever and wherever you're joining us. I'm so glad that you could join us on this journey of self-expansion. If this is your first time here, welcome. As a celebration of passing episode 700, I've opened a free membership tier for the Patreon community so you can access additional resources and join the weekly Zoom calls for free. I know there's a lot going on in the world right now and that so many people are really struggling. My hope here is to still encourage others to continue the work on reparenting and to offer a free community where people can come together and do that. I'd also like to thank all of you who've been along on the journey so far. Just as a reminder, this is a free podcast, but you can support the project by purchasing the Reparenting Daily Journal, where you can follow us along all year. This 333-page journal gives you extra insight and resources for each week, and also provides space for you to keep your notes. Another way to support the podcast is to purchase the Fairy Tales for Reparenting series, volumes 1 through 3. This collection organizes famous and obscure fairy tales from around the world into the 3 phases of the hero's journey. While you might think that fairy tales are for kids, I'd like to challenge you. These stories contain profound truths and lessons carried down over millennia that we can use in our reparenting journey. It's a fun way to reconnect with your inner child. Each volume comprises 10 fairy tales. They include an analysis section to help you dive deeper into the message, as well as journal prompts and space to reflect on the story's meaning in your life. Lastly, you can also support the project by taking a paid Patreon subscription, by purchasing the books on the website, or by donating via Buy Me a Coffee. You can find all this information on the Support Us section of the website. So now, with these announcements out of the way, let's dive into today's practice. Today, we're going to be listening to a portion of a video, an interview, entitled How to Say No Without Feeling Guilty. This is an interview with Jay Shetty and Jefferson. You can find the link in the show notes. As always, we'll only listen to a portion of it. This is a reminder we're in July, and the theme for this month is establishing boundaries and assertiveness. We're in week 2, and the theme for this week is learning to say no. Now, I selected a short clip of this video because he does a great job of explaining why saying no causes guilt or other emotional challenges for other people. And he gives you a practice to walk through those complicated feelings, how to develop the resilience to hold on to your no, which is an important thing for us to practice as we're in the process of reparenting, because our boundaries are how we protect ourselves. There's a first round of our self-protection. So without further ado, let's go ahead and listen to the interview.
How do you say no without feeling guilty? Because I think the challenge we have is a lot of us want to say no, but then we feel bad for saying no. We think this person gave me so much. They are trying, they're caring, and then we talk ourselves out of it, but then we just walk into a trap almost, or and then we go, oh, I knew that was going to happen. I should have said no. So how do you say no without feeling guilty?
If you believe that the person truly cares about your well-being in your life, then they'd want you to say no if you need to say no. Imagine if that's the relationship you thought you had, that they were always worried about your feelings, that they actually weren't being real with you. And now what kind of relationship is it if you can't be authentic enough to actually share your mind? Saying no is very difficult, depending on the context, no doubt. What I strive for when it comes to telling people no is to lead with the no first. Like, let's say I needed to invite you to something, or let's say you needed to invite me to something. And what do most people say? Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'd love to, but I can't. I have all this stuff. I'm so busy. And it's almost like, hey, look, if you couldn't go, just say you couldn't go. I don't need all this extra. It just sounds inauthentic that you've given me so much. Because why? They were afraid that you're going to be disappointed by that. Start with the no first. I can't make it. Thank you for inviting me. I can't make it. Thank you so much. And rather than I love to, but I can't. But has a way of just deleting everything that has come before it. And I feel that if I need to say no to something, in my mind, it's you want me to say no to this because I'm not going to be my I'm not going to be my best. If you really feel uncomfortable about it, then say, I've made a promise to myself of X. I've made a promise to myself that I'm going to be home more often. Made a promise to myself that I'm going to use this hour to do X, Y, and Z. People don't argue with promises. They don't want you to break promises, including promises that you've kept to yourself. And saying no is as easy as just saying no. It's the no because that gets you in trouble. No, it's just, it's because I have to go feed my cat, and I have this plant that I water, and it's you give up all these excuses that end up diminishing your credibility, rather than just saying, I can't make it. No, thank you. Not for me. Can't do it. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is be as direct as you can be.
I agree with you. And I had to do that recently as well. And you always just don't want to let someone down, and you don't want to, make them feel bad. And you're so right. I always turn to just commitments I've made to myself.
Yeah.
Because I think because it's true. And I think you're right that when you say but, it feels like, well, I love that, but this is more important.
It's and.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
and, yeah.
Yeah.
And when it's a promise to yourself, I'm trying to keep this promise to myself. And everyone knows how hard it is to keep promises to yourself.
They'll encourage you.
It's a real commitment. Yeah, It's a real commitment. And when it's genuine, it really lands. What do you do when the scenario is you say no and you do it in the best way possible, and someone's upset with you? And now you're towing this line between enabling them to make you say sorry and all this kind of stuff versus holding your standard. So someone asks you to come to a party or to help them out with something. You say, no, I can't. Kept a promise for myself that I'm trying to spend more time at home, can't travel. Now they try and make you feel bad about it. And there's someone that you consider a real friend, and they're not even trying to make you feel bad about it. They are just upset, and they're kind of reflecting that back on you. Do you do anything? What do you do?
I'd give it a rest. Sometimes fires have to burn out. And if it's a true friend, let's say, and they just send this text of, this is just like you, never to come, and I always invite you, and you're always late, and let that die out, because when they're dysregulated, you become dysregulated. And then that's when you start saying things that you don't mean and saying things that are not going to help the situation. So give it 5 minutes before you choose to respond. In fact, if you can, wait until the very next day, because time has a way of sifting things out of what you need to respond to. And you're also giving them a little bit of grace of saying, I know they're upset. Imagine if instead of getting upset with you of everything you said, I looked at it and go, man, Jay's stressed out. If they're a true friend, hey, I know you didn't mean that. I know you're overwhelmed. You're overwhelmed. Later on, let's say a day passes, 2 day passes. That's when you need to say, your words are not okay with me. What you just sent is below my standard for a response. You need to be able to toe that line of saying that, no, I'm not gonna accept that kind of behavior. It's okay to be disappointed, and it's not okay to talk to me like that. Like, you have to be able to choose in conversation, same with boundaries. What am I going to accept? What am I going to say? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's the difference of if you were to yell at me or raise your voice at me. If I had no boundary, it would sound like, you can't yell at me. Really? You think you can yell at you? Do you think you know who you're talking to? You can't yell at me. Versus if I have boundaries, I say, I don't accept people to speak to me that way. I don't respond to that volume. Now it's become a me thing, nothing that you can do. And now I'm controlling the conversation. Now I'm taking it back. So if it's a friend, if it's a true friend, they ought to know what you really meant at that moment. And again, this talks about the capacity for letting somebody show you they're messy.
Yeah. I know for a fact that as soon as I started living by some of this, my life just totally transformed. And people actually started to respect, at least the ones that love you and are actually close to you, started to really respect that honesty and started to really engage with it in a much more meaningful way, where they weren't upset when you were honest because they saw you were always honest.
Right.
And you were always real. And all of a sudden it wasn't surprising anymore. Whereas in the beginning, when you first start setting boundaries, people will be like, oh, wait a minute, you used to always be available. Now you're not available?
Yeah, absolutely.
And people have this reaction where like, hey, wait a minute, how do you have plans on a Saturday night? I'm the one who makes plans for us on a Saturday night. And then over time, people go, oh yeah, that's just who you are now. And I think a
Yes.
lot of us go through these transitionary moments in our life where we go from having no boundaries to having boundaries.
Yes.
We go from having no standards to having standards.
Yeah.
And when you get caught in the middle, people always point it out and it feels really painful because you are going from someone who was never organized to being organized.
Right.
But now over time, people tend to respect and forget.
If someone is upset at your boundary, it doesn't mean that it's wrong. It means that it's working. It's doing the very thing that you have the boundary in place to do. That discomfort that you feel, welcome it, because that's you choosing to do something different. And always that moment will pass. Discomfort, temporary discomfort for long-term peace, sign me up. Where can I sign up?
Yeah.
And if you can understand that those moments of discomfort get quicker and get quicker, and all of a sudden they become expected. And it's not a bad thing. You know how many times as an attorney, I've heard arguments between two people, or I've made arguments, and it's nothing. When it's these huge knockdown dragouts, because I've seen a lot of it. It's not like I'm going to be, oh my gosh, they're yelling. Oh my God, we're in this argument, because you've seen a lot of it. ER doctors, you know how many things they've seen? And then if you were to come with a scrape for them, you're like, oh, okay, this is nothing. The small things become nothing. And that's what you have to remember. It's working a different muscle. And so whenever you feel that angst, take it as a sign for good that you're choosing to do something different. When you work out and you feel sore, I'm growing. That's the sore. It's you using a different muscle that's going to better your life.
Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed this interview and took away some lessons from this talk. Now, I'd like to focus in on saying no without feeling guilty. Having the strength and the courage and fortitude, I guess you could say, to protect and defend your boundaries, to stand up for them, and to learn how to say no appropriately. Is this something that has been a challenge for you, or is it one of the easier areas you have for setting boundaries? It's something that, if you come from a background where you're needing to reparent yourself, if you perhaps have CPTSD, it's normal to have some challenges with setting boundaries and holding on to them. And it's one of the most beneficial things that you can learn as a skill that will rapidly improve your life, because you will be stopping any leaks that you have, energetic leaks, emotional leaks, financial leaks. And so I cannot overstate how important it is to learn to release the guilt that you might feel when you say no. That is a hook that predatory people can sense in you and know that they can exploit. And so it truly is a matter of self-protection, self-respect, self-love, and preventing yourself from entering into burnout or other emotional and physical disease. And so as we reflect on saying no without guilt, let's think about some journal questions. Number 1, what areas in your life do you have the most difficulty saying no? Or where you have the most difficulty saying no? Are there certain people or situations? Number 2, are there any circumstances in your life or people, relationships where you feel you don't have the right to say no, where it's not an option? And number 3, over the next few weeks, what's one no that you can stop implementing to yourself that would really help you gain evidence and build evidence that you are changing your life and taking charge? One consistent boundary you can set with yourself or with someone else. That's it for today. As always, thanks for being here. Take care of yourself and please do be well. Welcome back. Now, this is the third and final section of the daily podcast. This is your silent meditation. Please find a place where you can be comfortable and undisturbed, where you can relax and spend some time with yourself for the next 10 minutes. You can choose to be sitting, standing, lying down, or in whatever position makes you most comfortable today. Just take some time to listen to yourself. Next, be sure that you're taking time to be with your breath and to connect more fully with your body. Don't be disturbed or overwhelmed by your thoughts. Simply allow them to pass. Just observe them. Do not engage with your thoughts. Only be mindful of them passing, as if they are leaves drifting down top river. Use this time to connect with yourself, whatever time of day you are listening to this. Namaste.